Matt, when you start practice throughout the week and it comes race time for the weekend, what kind of things do you look for in your car and make sure that's correct, and what do you do to prepare yourself for a race on the weekend?
Always after a lot of practice, I'll look it over. You always want to clean your car up. A lot of times you'll find something cracked or broken. I always check the arms, make sure there's not too much play. Kind of freshen it up a little bit for a race if there's too much slop. I check wheel bearings a lot, especially the rear hub. Make sure that everything's free and nothing's loose, and it's nice and smooth. Also for shocks, a lot of times I'll pull the shocks off and check the rebound, make sure it didn't suck air or didn't leak any oil. Also, if you empty the oil out, you want to make sure that the O-rings are free and the shaft moves nice and free in the shock. And just a couple little things like that, and just check over before a big race.
Thank you. So after the race, preparing yourself for practice the following week, is there much stuff you change, or do you your car's pretty much set for practice throughout the week after a race, or are there certain things you continue to do after a race to start practicing for the following race?
Pretty much every day I get to the track, I'll check shocks. After a big race, usually the car is pretty fresh from the race, so you can run that for a while. And during practice is when you try a lot of things and you change a lot, so the car isn't as fresh for practice as it is for racing, but always kind of keep an eye on it. You don't want it to get too sloppy for practice, otherwise you're practicing with a car that you're not really going to race with. So
yeah. So not everybody has all the time to rebuild their car from race to race and everything, but what would you say are the number one thing that you would always check going to the track?
Always shocks. I mean, that's the first thing I do when I get to the track. I always check, and sometimes they suck air, sometimes they don't. A lot of times if the ride height changes during the run or after the run when you check it, they either sucked air or they leaked. Always check around there for oil, and I just think shocks are a very important part of the car.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt Castellano.
Thank you.